a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fanatics Collect weekly hockey auction ending watch party. My name is Jeremy Lee. It is August the 11th, 2024, and this is the 60th episode of this show with myself, and let's bring him out, Josh Madigan of the Gong Show. Josh, I don't know if you noticed, but this is episode number 60. Welcome to our anniversary show.
I was just thinking in my head, like I was blanking on what is the Beatles song? When I'm 64. So we're getting close to that. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
I'm gonna still need you. I'll still need you. Yes, I will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's kind of cool. It feels very comfortable and fun, and I'm still having a good time. So, yeah, looking forward to many more.
Right on. Well, happy anniversary to us, and welcome everybody to the show. We are going to be looking at, talking about, analyzing, opining upon the hockey cards that are ending on the PWC. There we go. I've been pretty good at not slipping in PWCC on the Fanatics Collect platform. Today, the weekly auction. Glad to be back. Some cool cards going off tonight. More hockey cards, please. Is already asking people to smash the like button or else. Appreciate that. More hockey cards, please. Jacob Dahl, Julio Navaroli is here. Good evening to you. Welcome to the show, guys. It is Sunday night. Beautiful day here. I got to tell you, Josh, I had a great day just with my kids, bike rides in the park. Nice. One of those days where, you know, just a not a worry in the world sort of day. And knowing that I was going to get to hang out here with you and everyone in the chat and talk hockey cards tonight just made the day that much more enjoyable for me. Thank you to Gary, wishing us a happy anniversary. Laura, appreciate you. Thank you. Papa Jim, hello to you. All is well. Phil is here, the third man in on the Gong Show.
Yeah.
Says, fanatical folk watching Fanatics auction. Let's go. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you. Todd McDonald, happy 60th. He says, best way to finish up the weekend. So I only have one bone to pick with this guy right here. This guy right over here.
I have many, so.
Collector. Do you know what the bone is, Josh?
What could it? Well, it could be many.
It could be many things. It could be many things.
I have no guesses at this point.
With our loud collector, Phil. I was, watching and listening to the Gong Show, and I think you asked the question to your panel. I think Louis was on there too. Another Baba Louis hot take. I think it wasn't his hot take though. This was Phil's. I think you asked something like, how does Canada look at, the Calgary Flames? And I think Phil said something like, yeah, no one cares about them. And I'm thinking to myself, Phil, you're coming from an Ottawa Senators fan. You're going to say no one cares about the Calgary Flames. At least the Flames have a cup. Not from when I was a fan of them, but if the Flames do have a cup, more than we can say for your Ottawa Senators. I'm just messing around. I don't take stuff like that personally. I know Phil, and he's probably not too wrong. The Flames are not one of the bigger fan bases in Canada, especially when you look at the Habs and the Leafs and the Oilers even. But
what's the pecking order then? Go through and list the most relevant teams in Canada, 1 through, 6 or whatever it is?
Yeah, well, it's going to start with Toronto and Montreal are basically 1-2, or 1A, 1B sort of thing. Then, and this is where I'm messing around with Phil. Like I can't, it's almost, to say nobody cares is not true, and I don't even know if those are his exact words, but after Toronto and Montreal, you've got Calgary, Edmonton. You got Vancouver, Ottawa, and, who am I forgetting?
Your Jets.
Winnipeg. So 7 teams, right? You got so Montreal, Toronto are easily 1-2, probably a tie. After that, I got to tell you, like it feels to me like a lot of the country has a soft spot, almost like they feel sorry for both the Winnipeg Jets and the Ottawa Senators because they've just had no success. Okay. Either of those teams they've had no success. Vancouver has had no Stanley Cups, but they've had some success. You know, they have had something to celebrate. They've been to the Stanley Cup Finals a couple times. So I would say you've got Toronto, Montreal as a 1A, 1B, and then I'm almost going to give Ottawa, Winnipeg the next level down as a 2A, 2B, and then you've got Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Edmonton might be higher up because of the Gretzky and the McDavid. So maybe Toronto, Montreal, then Edmonton, then I'm going to put in Winnipeg and Ottawa because people feel sorry for them, and then you got Vancouver and Calgary, where if you're fans, you're fans. If you're not, you really aren't. So that's kind of where I'd finish off ranking them there. What do you think on that?
Well, I was just curious. I don't know. You know, it's fun to get the Canadian perspective on your guys' own teams, but I think that makes sense to me that there's kind of buckets that each fall into. And the fact that you said everyone just feels sorry for Ottawa fans makes me so happy that you just don't know.
Well, and not just the fans, but the team, the franchise, the city, everything around it. But the same goes for Winnipeg. You know, my hometown, where I'm from, I was a huge fan of the first Winnipeg Jets. The second one, they're not my favorite team, but I still would support them because it's Winnipeg. It's just it's sort of an underdog town with an underdog team that's never won anything. So I think people would love to see Winnipeg win something because they just feel bad for them. I think Ottawa is the same way, but then again, you know, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver have seen some success, so people don't feel as sorry for those teams. The professor is here. Good evening, Professor. Producer Louie. What I got to say, Josh, I'm enjoying seeing more of Louie and Phil on the Gong Show. Good stuff. Phil, could be a few things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, Doghouse Hockey? Great account on Instagram. Good evening. Glad you enjoyed last night's show with Wayne Wagner from Wayne's Sports Cards and Collectibles in Edmonton. Brett S., happy Monday morning. Happy Monday morning. Wherever you are. Are you Australia? Where are you located? You must be Australia. Rob Lee, welcome to the show. More hockey cards as Flames playoff games are fun to watch coming from a U.S. fan. Appreciate that for sure. Phil stands by his statement. Yes, I think we're on the same page for sure. More hockey, says Danny Heatley is the best senator of all time. It's crazy to think they had guys like Marian Hossa, Dominic Hasek go through there, among others. Ottawa's seen some good players over the years. What's up, Jeff McMahon? Welcome to the show. SSP Joel, wondering if you guys would give your thoughts on Allure as a set. I don't think there's any Allure cards in the auction tonight, but I can tell you that the Gong Show, I believe you guys have talked about Allure. Josh, do you know which episode you can direct Joel to go listen and get your thoughts on Allure? We're not going to talk about that here tonight, though.
You'd have to go look through the archive. We went through when the set came out a month or so ago. We did a deep dive on the checklist, so you can go look there.
Yeah, go check that out, Phil. I'm sure you'll find some great information there. More hockey cards says Ottawa was really good in 2007. God, I don't even remember 2017. Never mind 2007. More Hayel says and pretty good in 2016. Phil, yeah, absolute disaster franchise. The Ottawa Senators is going to be a big year, though. Hey, listen, I actually think that the Senators are that farther ahead of the Flames right now in a rebuild with some legit superstar potential right there. Brett S. joining us from Adelaide, Australia, where I did spend some time back in 1991, Brett, and I loved Adelaide. It was my favorite city in Australia. All right, Josh, we got some cards to look at here tonight. We are going to be covering the extended bidding period of the auction, which will start in about 20 minutes. Y'all know the drill. You know how that works by now. We've got about 150 cards in the auction tonight, Josh. We've identified 31 of interest tonight. So we'll get through those. Anything you'd like to say about anything going on with the Gong Show, any upcoming, anything you'd like to talk about before we dive into the cards, Josh?
No, we're kind of on the tail end of the summer doldrums in the hockey world. It's going to be spicing up pretty soon. I was thinking the other day, kind of doing our content plan for our show, and it's like, gosh, we're going to be in preview mode before we know it. And this month, the end of this month, now I know it's not like a huge set, but I think the 28th we have 2024-25 MVP release. So the new set year is already starting.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Billy the other day. We were just, shooting the poop, whatever. And he mentioned that to me. And I said, well, wait, there's still some 22, 23 sets to come out. And yet there's 24, 25s. And that's just some sets are so much easier to produce than others. Some don't need any memorabilia or autographs. So there's a lot less the logistics that goes into the production process itself versus an MVP, which I think is just paper for the most part, right? Do they include autos or jerseys and patches in MVP, Josh?
No, there's a draft pick redemption. Typically, we saw some big numbers for Bedard last year, but it's not even named. It's like first pick and stuff like that. That in the case of like a Bedard year, people really jumped on. But it just signifies the first release of the new set year and that whole new rookie class that we're gonna, and a whole new set of names for us to get familiar with.
All right, well, let's get into the cards here tonight, everybody. And we are going to start off with these three. We got some vintage to kick us off, and we're going as far back as 1956. That usually we go further, but tonight we're going to start with this 1956 Adventure Hockey Hardy Perennials in a GAI 8.5 holder. And this is a card that I've owned similar cards to this, Josh. I don't know what Hardy Adventures is, but do you? Did you look at this? Yeah, I don't know much about it, but it pictures the sport of hockey. Is it calling out? Let's see what it says here. An early game, first professional were played in Michigan. Yeah, in the 1900s. So is this card supposed to be featuring Hod Stewart and Cyclone Taylor? I don't know. But I just think it's one of those neat cards. It is not necessarily a player card. It's more a card that is showcasing the sport of hockey. I do think this is a Detroit Red Wing. This is likely a New York Ranger. Is that Gordie Howe? I mean, it does not look like him to me. Don't know who that might be. So I don't know, just a neat card, not a valuable card. It's only $16. But anyway, I thought it was cool because, Josh, I'm going to ask you, is this a card that is familiar to you? Do you feel like you've seen this card before?
No, I haven't at all. I think cards like this I view them as conversation starters. Like if you're hanging out with hobby friends and everybody's seeing a Jack Hughes Young Guns about 10,000 times, it's like, hey, here's something unique. Check this out. What do you think?
And that's exactly why I wanted to bring it up, because it is different. It's just a neat hockey relic on cardboard. I think it's cool. I don't know much about it, but there you go. 1956 Adventure Hockey Hardy Perennials. I'm sure somebody could have fun diving into what that is all about and what the rest of the set looks like. This is card number 63. All right, we got a 1961 Topps Stan Mikita, second year Stan Mikita in a PSA 5 holder. And, I wouldn't usually want to spend time looking at a mid-grade card like this from 1965, Josh. However, when I looked at it, I'm actually going to do it this way, open image. When you look at the card, it looks really nice. The centering is really good. It's not perfect, but it's really good. The colors pop in. It's a second-year Stan Mikita. As I look at the card, the only thing that seems wrong with it to me are the corners. They're just less than perfect, especially the bottom right. The bottom left, a bit of rounding. The bottom right as well, But you fix up those corners, maybe you're a PSA 7, and all of a sudden the cost is going to go up quite a bit. This is $44. I think this is a really nice way to get into the second-year Mikita. If you have any interest in getting into a second-year Stan Mikita, second-year Hall of Famers, I'm starting to lean more. I'm starting to find myself really keenly interested in non-rookie Hall of Fame vintage. Not like I'm going to go buying a ton of cards like that, but I just find myself more and more attracted to them, Josh. And maybe it's because my brain is so programmed to recognize rookie cards of all the players. Like you can name a player, I can visualize their rookie card like many of us can. The second years, maybe because they're so much less familiar, I find myself more and more interested in them. Does that make any sense to you, Josh, as a collector?
Makes a lot of sense. And I think it's just it just shows, I don't know what the right word is, how you're growing in the hobby, right? Is that you've spent a long time sort of mastering and for yourself and focusing on certain cards. And then, here's a whole new avenue of interest that you can explore. And what's kind of amazing about our hobby is that you can pick up cards like this. Look, it's at $44. He's one of the best players ever. And it's a really nice, great eye appeal and can't go wrong.
I agree. You mentioned, growing. Yeah, I've been doing this hobby for 44 years, and that doesn't mean that you can't continue to discover new things, find new interests, evolve, lose interest even. You talk about second year cards, and I was racking my brain. Which ones do I have? Well, I've got a second year Bobby Orr, second year Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, and Dale Hawerchuk. I'm sure I have a couple of others. They're just not coming to mind, as far as vintage goes. So why wouldn't I add a Stan Mikita? I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I will. Maybe I will one day. We'll see. Fun discussion. That second. What more hockey cards? What is more hockey cards? He says, if you care about second year cards, do you care about last year cards too? That's a great question. I think that's a great question because there was a time in my early collecting career. I'm talking back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, when I was thinking, last card. I was thinking to myself, all this attention given to rookie cards. What about last year cards? That's pretty significant too. And I remembered going after the 1979 Gordie Howe and Bobby Hull, because those are both their last year cards. Two very significant Hall of Famers had their last year cards in the same set. And it's so much different now with all the post-playing days cards, but back then it made a lot of sense. So I do care about second year cards. Do I care about last year cards too? Yeah, I think I do care about them. I don't know that I see myself going, although I do have the Gordie Howe in my collection to this day. I think it's a significant card. 1979, O-Pee-Chee, same year as the Gretzky, playing for Hartford. I think it's a cool card. So I do have it. He looks like he could be a great grandfather as well. So yeah, I care a bit, but not as much as I do about second year cards, I think, for me. How about you, Josh? Any interest in a final year card, like even whether Gordie Howe or anybody else for that matter? Playing days?
Yeah, I would always have interest in. I'm not much of a vintage collector. I've found that I'm kind of gravitating towards cards of my youth. That's been the last year. So, and I was a child of the early 90s. And then kind of that, and that's spilling over into the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that's where my lane has been. But everything you're saying makes total sense to me. Right
on. All right. Well, let's talk about a rookie year card now. The 1966 Topps Bobby Orr PSA 5 with a top 30% PWCC eye appeal certification. Let's open up this card and take a peek. Guys, if anyone watching this right now is in the market for a Bobby Orr rookie, this 5 is absolutely spectacular. They gave it a 30% eye appeal rating. That seems very conservative to me for a 5. Look at these edges and corners. They are blazing. The top edge is great. A touch of white I'm seeing right there, but it's nothing really. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. Those side edges are just sharp. The bottom edge, the bottom right corner, maybe that's the problem. A bit of white, what might be a little bit of a fold here of the top layer of the cardstock that was then, pushed down with a finger maybe, which no big deal. Flattened out by the slab even. If that's the biggest problem on this card, this thing is absolutely, I'm going to use the same word, spectacular. This card looks nicer than the PSA 8 that I used to own. The color is solid. The borders are solid. The centering is side to side is perfect. Top to bottom, super strong. Usually on the centering, like you guys have seen a lot of this card where the print is shifted down so you can see the top of Bobby Hull's name or the bottom of Bobby Hull's name, but the top of the card. This one, the centering is shifted up a little bit. but to me, that's the better way to be not perfect on vertical centering. But centering is like side to side is what's super important with this card. And my gosh, guys, I can't even believe how nice this is. And if this card sells for 5 prices, you're gonna get a smoking deal here. Like the back is gray too, a little bit of color, little color stains here, but that's nothing. Some fish eyes throughout the back. It's on the back. It's not gonna deter me. Certainly off center on the back, but I mean, the front is what you want. Josh, I literally think, guys, if anyone is looking for a Bobby Orr rookie card in mid-grade, like this 5, tonight might be your night. Don't sleep on this. If you've been waiting for the perfect Orr rookie, don't sleep on this one. I'm serious. I love it. I love it. Josh, I gotta just pass it over to you.
We had featured this one in our show, and I was feeling the same way, but I don't have the confidence to say that without you around, because then I'm always terrified that we'll get on this show and you'll point out something really obvious that makes it a terrible card. And I thought it was better as well than the 30% eye appeal rating. To me, this card has eye appeal for days. It really does. The colors are great. The printing is great. The left to right centering almost seems perfect on the card. You're right. It is a little bit off top to bottom. I'm sure you're right about the lower right corner, that whatever dings the card gets is due to that, but we don't talk about this one as much or view as many as we do with the Gretzky rookie, but there's lots of pretty beat up copies of this card that sell for quite a bit of money. And right now, I mean, it's fairly close to in line. The last 4 sales, between 63 and 6,700 US. So we're a little bit ahead of that now, but deservedly so. And this is why we talk about all the time. When you buy vintage, you buy the card first, the eye appeal, before the label, before the number, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is nicer than, like I said, when I said this is nicer than a PSA 8 I've owned, I'm not making that up. Like, I'm not just saying that to be silly. Like, I mean it. And I'll put my money where my mouth is. I have a PSA 5.5 Bobby Orr rookie that I love as much as I love this 5 here. And that's the reason why I moved my 8 last year, because I had a 5.5 that I liked more. So, I mean, when I tell you guys, don't wait for a 7 just for the sake of having a 7 so you can flex it. Get yourself a quality copy. Now, listen, there might be probably no wrinkles because it is a 5 still, but there could be something else we're not seeing here. But from an eye appeal perspective, this checks all the boxes for me. And I would buy this over a way higher price 7 or 8 even, because this is going to look better than many 7s and many 8s, even though it's a 5, and you're going to have all that money left over to buy something else. So, again, don't sleep on this one if it's something that you are looking for. And if you are going to bid on it, use my affiliate code. I may as well throw that out there right now, seeing as I love this card so much. Use it. It's pinned to the YouTube chat, and it's also on the ticker right now. But I have no issue saying that on this card. And as you guys know, if I don't like a card, I'm going to tell you that too. I'll tell you not to bid on cards here too. This one I love. I'm glad to hear that Josh liked it as well.
Can I make one more quick comment on that card too?
Please.
I really think, and we haven't talked about this yet, if you own a card like this, it might like this, I mean, that it's a vintage card for its grade, it's off the charts, and you feel strongly it's at the highest end of the spectrum of that grade. And you're in the position to sell it. You're at a card show, you're somewhere, you're wherever you're at, and somebody tries to comp and say, well, the last sale was $6,300. Say, I don't care. Look at this card. Show me a 5 that's nicer than this, and figure out whatever the premium is worth to you. But just wanted to point out maybe the fallacy of comps, or where comps are not perfect, or where comps are not 100% indicative of what the value of a card is. This is where, like I said, the last 4 comps are in that 63 to 6,700 range. There's no way I would sell this card for that much. And I think you can have confidence in situations like this one, where to walk away from a deal knowing that you'll find a collector that will see the premium that this card is.
Yeah, like if I'm selling this card in my showcase at a card show and I've got a PSA 7, or my neighbor, the booth beside me has a PSA 7 Bobby Orr that isn't as nice as this one, I'd have no problem putting a price tag that is higher than what they have on their 7, because I feel that this card is nicer than that one. I care less and less what the grade is by PSA or SGC or whichever company is grading the vintage. And I care way more about how I feel about the card. And again, that's why I sold my 8 and kept my 5.5, because it was just a nicer card. Technical grade is only one thing. It's as Josh said, and I agree with you, Josh, the comps are just a data point. They are not the end all be all when it comes to vintage. When it comes to modern day, ultra modern, mass produced Prism and Young Guns and all these things, the differences between one PSA 10 and another one, or a 9 and a 10, are minuscule to non-existent. With vintage, the lower you go down the grading scale, the wider the scope of conditions can be for a card in that grade. So, like Josh said, anytime someone throws out comps to me on a card like this, I'm gonna first of all lose a bit of respect for you, because you're either trying to pull one on me, or you're not lose respect, but I'm gonna realize that either you're trying to pull a fast one on me, or you're just a little bit less experienced in the hobby. But hopefully you'll catch up and realize that the grade on the label is only really important to, well, it's important. I understand that, but it's super important to chasing the people who are competing on the set registry, because they want to win the leaderboard, and the flexibility of having super high grade cards, because people know they're expensive. So, but this card is in my wheelhouse all day long. All right. Okay, let's keep on going to the next row here. We have a Daryl Sittler PSA 8 O-Pee-Chee rookie card, 1970. It's at $700 right now. And let's have a look at the card itself, because this is a key card. And as is typical with 1970 and a lot of early O-Pee-Chee, it is off-centered to the right. But otherwise, it looks pretty. And by the way, this is Josh's favorite design of an O-Pee-Chee set from the 70s. He loves those white kind of spotlights in the background. He thinks that they are just so innovative and creative. So maybe Josh will be going for this card. It's not my favorite 8 that I've seen of the Sittler rookie. It's off-center to the right. It's also sitting low, I believe, on the card canvas as well. I'm noticing some blue in his hair here. That's not deliberate. That's definitely an issue. I don't know what issue that is. I don't know if that's registration or just extra. It must be registration. I don't think that's extra ink. So there's definitely a registration issue there, which you can see in the hair. That I'll tell you, like, as much as I like the Bobby Orr, I would not be buying this Daryl Sittler, because I know that there's no blue in his hair. They weren't dyeing their hair blue back in the 70s, guys. So that would be a deal breaker. I would wait for a card where there was no blue tint in his hair. I'm glad I saw that, so I can call that out. Josh, your thoughts on the Sittler?
Yeah, again, I think you might be able to find a 8 that, well, I guess I would look for one that suited my taste and better, and kind of what I look for in a vintage card versus what I find distracting. And the dots too, I think that's my problem with them in this design, is that they take the focal point of the card. They're just weird. And you kind of I spent all my time trying to figure out what the heck those things are, versus if it was just a solid yellow background. In my opinion, this card would be so much better. And to me, what stinks about this set is you have Sittler, you have Gilbert Perreault, you have Bobby Clark. There's a lot of big cards that I can't stand, those cotton balls.
He just doesn't like the design this year, and I don't blame him, guys. And I agree. You take those 2 white blotches out of there, and all of a sudden you are not distracted, and you're really focusing on Daryl Sittler and his blue hair on this particular issue. it's still a cool card. But yeah, this one, I would wait for one where he doesn't have blue hair personally. And then we have a couple of Gretzky's. How many? 5, 6 Gretzky rookies, you guys. 6 of them. O-Pee-Chee, BVG, or BGS 6.5. O-Pee-Chee BGS 7. O-Pee-Chee PSA 8 at 12,500 with eye appeal. And then we have Tops 7.5, Top 7.5, and a Tops PSA 5. Let's have a look at the Gretzky O-Pee-Chees first. We'll open all 3 of them side by side. We'll start with this one, BGS 6.5. Right off the bat, guys, that oil drop is like perfectly placed. Let's zoom in on that bad boy. Look at that. The red, the magenta is perfect. The yellow's a little bit off. Minor blur on the bottom of the legs, but it's very minor. There is some white between the black and the blue here, which I'm not a fan of. Bottom left corner, bottom right corner. What is this? A 6.5. For a second, I thought it was a 7.5. I'm like, this thing's overgraded. It's a 6.5. Those corners are much more relevant to a 6.5 than a 7.5. The edge, if you zoom out, you look at this right edge. It's got the rough cut right here, but it doesn't have the rough cut anywhere else. And you see this on Gretzky rookies quite often, where there's a little bit of rough cut in one spot, but nowhere else. And this is a case of that. As much as I like the rough cut, I don't like when that happens. That to me is there's no symmetry to that. There's no consistency to that. So this, I think I'm going to zoom in so you guys see what I'm talking about. This little area of the right border from here to here, that bothers me. But outside of that, this card's really nice. Like the top edge, it's got consistent roughness, and I like that about it. The word Oilers is a little bit low, which surprises me considering the oil drop looks so good. Maybe the oil drop is a tad low, but I don't think so. Maybe the word Edmonton, and maybe the black's a little bit high on this card. That could be the issue. In any event, centering, it's a little bit high, a little bit to the left. But overall, final assessment, I think this is a decent 6.5. I have no dispute on the grade itself. All right, I'm going to go to the next one, Josh. This is the 7. BGS 7 has nicer edges than the 6.5, nicer corners. Top left corner, not perfect, but nice. Top right corner is very nice. Word Oilers is on the same plane as the word Edmonton. The edges are consistently rough, which is what you want to see. Bottom corners look pretty good as well as I can tell. There seems to be something funky going on right here, but I'm not sure if that's anything or not. Centering, really good. I think this is a fair grade on this one too. I like this. I like this as a 7 a lot more than I like the last card as a 6.5. Like, yeah, I like the 7 more than the 6.5, even though the 6.5 seems to have bolder color overall. And then finally, we've got the PSA 8 with eye appeal. And let's just sort of sit back and look at this thing. First of all, oil drop looks really good. A tad high, but still really nice. Colors popping. Registration overall looks to be really good. Like, look at the bottom of his legs where we often see blur. This is perfect. These are perfect legs. Wayne's got perfect legs on this copy, guys. Almost no white between the black and the blue. There's a minor amount. The corners are good. There's a bit of a blemish right here on the bottom corner. It's going to be hard to see. Let me zoom in on it for you guys. Right there, there's sort of like a fisheye, some sort of print defect there. The oil drop is a little bit high, but doesn't seem to be doing any damage to his legs. His face is nice and clear. No color coming into this thin white border, which we often do see. Nice print of the word Edmonton. Super bold right there. Yeah, I like this copy. I like this copy for an 8. Centering, is it perfect, Josh? I mean, side to side, it's not perfect. I think the right side is a little bit wider than the left, and I think the top might be a little bit wider than the bottom, but not bad at all. This is a very nice copy for an 8. Is it worthy of eye appeal and PWCC? Who gave it the eye appeal? Is it Fanatics? It's Fanatics Collect eye appeal this time, top 30%. I think it's probably the bottom of that top 30% for me, Josh, but it's getting $12,500 right now, which is pretty solid for this card. I'm going to stop there, Josh, and get your thoughts on these O-Pee-Chees.
I think they're all fine. Like, I don't see any reason why, like, we're like a stay away reason for any of the cards. If it's my money and I'm hunting a Gretzky and I'm looking for the best value, I think the 7 is where I'm, and actually, and this is a total preference thing. What I don't love about the 8 is it doesn't have enough of the rough cut for me.
Yeah.
It's the corners and edges are probably a new blade sort of thing. I do love the registration of the 8, but I think overall I would enjoy the 7 better, and it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper. So I like that.
Yeah. I think that's the savvy. Those are the savvy plays right now, are those, one lower than like the collector level grade, which for the Gretzky might be the 8. I recently watched a video actually with on YouTube with a guy who talks about the collector grade, and it's going to be different for every card. What is the collector grade for this card? And I think it's either the collector grade is what he believes in or one less than the collector grade. I forget how it works, but in any event, the guy's YouTube channel is called Reserved Investments, and he's actually, I have him coming on an episode of Sports Cards Live pretty soon. I think in September. So we'll definitely be getting into that, and I really encourage you guys to watch for that. I don't know if you watch every episode of Sports Cards Live, thank you. I'm very grateful. But if you don't and you want to learn something that I find fascinating, tune into that episode when it's coming up. It's scheduled for, I think, second half of September. So I think, and again, like, I can't wait to get into that discussion. But okay, let's now look at the Topps copies. We have a 7.5, we have a second 7.5, and we have a PSA 5. So let's just have a quick peek at these. I mean, Topps is so consistent. It doesn't need as much examination as the O-Pee-Chees do. But this one, it looks good. No issue, really. It's off center. Sure. It's got a bit of the yellow plate's a bit high. It's causing this white border to be yellow instead of white, which I'm not a fan of, but it's a detail that not as many people notice. So I don't know. Seems to be okay for a 7.5. The centering could be improved upon, though. This one here, I mean, I don't know, guys. Look at the centering on this 7.5 versus this one. This one, they're both off center, but this one is at least a bit better centered, I think. You look at those right borders, they seem to be about the same. So maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. Maybe this one is a slightly worse centering, has a fisheye right over here, which I'm not a huge fan of. The top white bar here is a lot cleaner than this copy over here, which has got if you zoom right in, you can see the yellow like stripe covering 90% of that white band up there. This 7.5, the oil drop is perfect, but the centering, you got to get comfortable with the centering. And then the PSA 5 has the best centering of all. It's got a decent oil drop, but the problem with this is it has seen some enjoyment. The corners are not perfect. They have dings. All 4 corners are dinged. And then there's some wear down the right side, but the centering on this one is easily the best of the 3. So, Josh, any comments on those 3?
No, I mean, I think you did an excellent job. And again, it just comes down to what you can live with, what trade-offs you want to make, what's important to you from an IPO perspective, and what flaws, because in a 7.5 or 5 grade, there's, of course, going to be flaws, which ones you can live with.
Yeah, exactly. Trade-offs. And the thing with Gretzky rookies, you've got tons of options. So wait for the copy that speaks to you. That's my advice on that. We have a PSA 9, I believe. Is it an 8 or a 9? It's an 8. Steve Yzerman O-Pee-Chee rookie. I mean, this looks pretty good to me, Josh. It's got some rough cut over here, which you don't need the rough cut on an Yzerman like you need it on the Gretzky. So I'm not sure what else is going on because the centering's very nice on this card. Not perfect, but very nice. We're sitting at a bit of $180 on a PSA 8 Yzerman rookie. I don't know what, and I know 10s are, well, we haven't seen a 10 for a while, I don't feel like, Josh, but they were doing about $4,000 for a while.
Yep.
9's probably doing about what, 1,000 to 1,500, maybe 800 to 1,200 in there. And then you got this 8 sitting here at 180. This is to me, it's a decent looking 8. What did you think of the Yzerman?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of these cards, just like with the Gretzky. And so you can choose to be picky, but as far as 8s go, very, very nice card. And I think it's going to come down to, I think to me on this card, left to right centering is the most important. And it's sort of at that borderline for me. I can talk myself into it and I can talk myself out of it.
It's got some similar characteristics to the Gretzky, rough cut, centering, and then it's got all these these thin black lines that have to line up with the thin red and pink border, and they often don't. So I enjoy looking at this card as well. We often see a gap between Yzerman's red shirt here and this black circle around the profile image. You see a bit of yellow in there right there, and you can see the yellows off. If you look at the words Red Wings, you see the yellow coming off the bottom there. You see it down at the bottom here below the black border. So there are some registration issues with this copy, but they're not that bad, and hey, it is an 8, so take it for what it's worth. Finally on this row, 1995 finest refractor, Wayne Gretzky, PSA 9, sitting at $210. 26 bids, more than either of the other two cards here. Let's take a look at this one. Now, I know I could say, Josh, what are your thoughts? And I know that Josh, I'm not trying to steal your thunder here, Josh, but Josh is not a fan of the St. Louis turtleneck era Wayne Gretzky. And I don't love the turtleneck either, but it's, to me, that's kind of secondary to what the card is all about. And I do like this card. I think it's a pretty looking card. I don't know much about its rarity or even population. I'd be curious to know the pop. Does it say here? It doesn't. Josh, are you able to look that up for us, the population on this one?
Yeah, I can. And while I do that, the biggest thing to me on this card is the hulking. I don't know if you noticed that too.
I don't really see much of it, maybe the palm of his glove here.
I think the bottom right and then the top edge to the left.
Maybe. That could be reflection. I don't know. But this is a decent copy to me.
22 is the top of PSA 9.
22?
Mm-hmm.
How many 10s?
Looking that up right now.
Thank you. He's looking up right now, card number 180.
Yep. Is that with coding or is that without coding?
This is without coding.
Okay. There's 15 PSA 10s.
15 10s, 22 9. So this is one of the nicest 37s, theoretically, that reside in a PSA holder. And this is the without coding, which to me is just the way nicer way to present.
Jay-Z's right. Sorry, I gave you 15 PSA 10s is with coding, 7 PSA 10s without.
7 without. Thank you, Jay-Z. Yeah, nice card. Nice card. Josh, I did sort of steal your thunder. Anything further on that?
No, well, the one comment I would just make about the era is I kind of feel like I'm starting to see that we've had the 97, 98, 99 time frame. It's been very popular over the last year. I'm thinking that we're going to see a run and some record sales on cards now in that 94, 95, 96 range where we start to get the first refractors. And this would be an example of that. I just have a feeling in this next year that cards from that time span are going to start to pop off a little bit.
Yeah, because you know what? You might be right. And there aren't as many interesting cards, I believe, in that 3-year period versus the 3-year period that can't come subsequent.
Well, last week we saw the Ultra Powers for Gretzky and Lemieux, right? And that Lemieux is an all-time record sale on that. Yeah. There are some, but I think
I think it's going to be easy for what you predict to come true, because it's not like there's 300 Gretzky cards that people are going to all of a sudden start clamoring for from that era. So I can see that definitely happen. All right, continuing along, we have the Pavel Bure, probably the rarest Bure card from the 90s. It's 1998 Bowman's Best Mirror Image Fusion Atomic Refractor, numbered out of only 25. That's like an insanely low number for this period of time. Let's do this. Let's take a look at both sides of this card. So here's the front. It's die cut. Pretty nice. I do love these Atomics, guys. This is a pretty nice looking card. Nice, I would say nicer in person than it is on the screen. And here's the back with an inconsequential player named Bill McCult. You know, he played for a while, but really not. He's the back of the card for a reason. But I love it. You got the stamped serial number right here, 24 of 25. You're not going to find a rarer Pavel Bure. And what's this at right now? We're sitting at $550. It's a pop one, none graded higher by BGS. I'm not surprised to see it at $550. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this card was a $2,000 card tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know that it's going to get there. It's only a $550, so it's not looking like it will, but that wouldn't have surprised me. And as Brett S. here says, that's an expensive card if you PC Bill McCult, which I don't know if anyone does except for his mother. And
okay, I have a question for you about this. This is at 550. If this is a 9.5 of the Atomic Refractor out of 100, I'm going to say it's 3 times the price right now.
Yeah. And this is out of this is 25% of the print run. It does have a back, with Bill McCult that I think is it's a bad thing. Like that, it's a strike against the card. When we talk about checking all the boxes, having a card back that is some other player that you don't care about, to me, is the opposite of checking a box. It detracts from the card, but you have to get your head around just looking at the one side all the time, I suppose. 2001 Upper Deck Premier Collection, Wayne Gretzky auto with the New York Rangers. There were 2 Gretzky autos in this set. One with the Rangers, one with the Edmonton Oilers. And this was the first year of Upper Deck Premier Collection where these autographs, I mean, I remember buying I collected this autograph set. I had the whole autograph set done. The golds, the silvers, and the bronzes. And there was no overlap between players. They either were a gold, a silver, or a bronze. And I think there were some parallels out of 5. I didn't bother with those. I only did the regular set. I don't have any of them anymore. I've since sold the whole thing off. But I loved collecting these in their day. They were beautiful. And nowadays we see these beautiful autographed cards coming out of various sets every year, whether it's SPA or Ultimate or Cup. And back then, this is all we had was the Premier Collection. And this was the card. This and the Oiler auto, along with the Bobby Orr, were the cards from the set. Loved them. This is a Pop 8 BGS 9 with a 9 auto at the $370. And yeah, man, Josh, I just remember collecting these, putting this set together one card at a time, the Gretzky's being the big ones. So how do you like this Gretzky autoed card, Josh, versus, and we see so many of them, versus some of the other ones that we see out there?
Yeah. Can we look at the auto? Why is that a 9?
It's a 9 because autograph grading makes no sense. Probably because the auto comes up into the gray here. Maybe he flubbed the first 9 here. There's no reason why this autograph is penalized that I can see.
I think that makes this card very interesting because that 9 auto grade is going to scare people away. And what that means is it's going to lower the price of the card. And sometimes you get it that it's faded. Well, faded can happen after it's graded, but it's really light or it's missing or it runs off the card to a certain degree. To me, I think this is a perfectly acceptable auto, and I would be interested in that. And then to your broader question, at some point on our show, I want to do a really deep dive into Gretzky autographs because there's so many that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think there's over 10,000 different Gretzky autograph cards. And so it's really about finding the card that speaks to you, finding the the design. With Gretzky, you have basically the 4 eras, the jerseys, right? Whether you want him in Edmonton or the Kings or Rangers or Blues. But as far as like designs go, it's a very nice design card. It's very well balanced. What I like about this card is that the signature, the card was designed, of course, around the auto, and so the auto is very clean and it stands out, and no problem with this card.
Yep, agree. I think it's a good looking card, and I'll be very excited to listen to your episode breaking down all the scope of the Gretzky autos that we've seen over the years. Okay, we have a rookie year 2005 Ultimate Collection debut threads Alex Ovechkin patch out of 250. Is it a patch or is it a jersey? Let's take a look at this one. This is a jersey card. It says jersey right there. It even says jersey here on the label. I have a feeling that Fanatics Collect / as previously known as PWCC, they just consider all swatches of material from a game used jersey or a jersey to be patch, but this is clearly not patch. This is jersey to those traditionalists, I suppose. Those that are stuck on that. I'm stuck on that. I think there's a difference there. So to me, this is not a patch. This is a jersey card, but it's still a rookie year Ovechkin, numbered out of 250, PSA 9 holder at $210. Not bad. The grade is 9. That's pretty strong. Doesn't bother me at all from a grade perspective. Josh, how do you feel about some of these rookie year non-true RCs, but still rookie year cards that have jersey cards, but from such a beautiful set like Ultimate?
I think they're a great option. It's going to be, most people can't afford an 05 limited logos. So, but if you want to participate in collecting Ovi or participate in his chase for the goals record, this could be a great option. We've talked a little bit about having at some point as this industry matures, and I use the word industry kind of around the hobby in particular, that there could be benefit to a trade association where, like, I come from the internet advertising world and they have something called the IAB, the Internet Advertising Bureau. And what that does is create standards and regulations around how internet ads are defined and treated. And, when you're talking about it being called the patch versus a jersey, I would love to get to the point someday where we have standardization around that, where if you're a selling platform, you prescribe, okay, this is the hobby association, whatever it is, and they and all the key players get together and agree this is how we define certain cards to make it easier on the collector to identify what they're looking at.
I have a video coming out in the next few days that talks about that exact concept and what it would look like rolling something like that out, that I've been working on for a couple months now. I just had it vetted by a lawyer because I don't want to come out and not know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be recording that and putting out a piece on my channel in the next, hopefully, but before I leave for Fanatics Fest on Thursday. So in the next 3 or 4 days, and that is a topic that is specifically covered, Josh. So I think you'll be pleased to see that.
Yeah, can't wait.
Okay, 2008 O-Pee-Chee Premier, Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, triple auto at a 35, BGS 9.5. Love this card. First of all, you have here the 3 best players that you could put on a card together, I believe. I don't think there's a better triple auto in the hockey card hobby than this one here. Of any era, any time, this is it. This is the bee's knees, as they say, everybody. And I love this. Now, this isn't the only card that has these 3 autographs on it. There are others, but this to me is also the prettiest and the nicest. I love the colors. I love the prime colors you see here. Colored headshots, nice blue autographs. All of them are like perfectly placed. Of course, Beckett has to devalue the card by giving the autograph a 9, I think simply because Wayne Gretzky's stroke goes to the edge of the card. Such a stupid rule to grade that a 9 because of that. Beckett grading standard, if that's the way they grade them, they need to check themselves, because That's just, I think it's idiotic the way they do that. I think it makes no sense. These autographs are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That right there would cause me to just not do business with Beckett. I know I'm not alone in that. People are pretty fed up with them right now, but gosh, I can't tell you how frustrated that makes me, because to me this is a perfect card. Yet, okay. Anyway,
Kraken.
love it. Absolutely love the card, guys. And like I said, there are others. This is the nicest of all of them to me. There are others. You might like those more. I love this piece, though. These cards were selling, I remember, at the peak for well over $10,000. Maybe not well, like in the 12 to 15 range. And they're not there anymore. This one's a 4,400 right now, which is over 5 with buyer's premium. Great card, Josh. What are your thoughts?
Love it. Just like you do. Don't care about that. I would crack that immediately and just enjoy it raw with that, because that 9 auto grade will probably hurt it. Here's another thing that I think is really significant about this card and others from the era going forward, and really starting, I think, around 2020. Upper Deck has pretty much said, due to all the logistics around it, any card that's more than a dual auto is going to be all stickers going forward. There may be some exceptions, but we've definitely seen that. And so when you go back to this kind of 2006-7 range to 2013-14, all these cards are hard signed, and I think in the long run that's going to place a big premium on these. And so I love multiple player autoed cards, and that's why I'm honing in on that time frame.
Yeah, Matt, that could be one of the savviest approaches right now. If that is true, and anything with over 2 autos is going to be stickers moving forward. Plus the fact that Gordie Howe is just not signing anymore anyway. I think, Leaf probably has some of his sticker autos around still. Maybe Upper Deck does too. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, this is a card that can't be made again. And if what you said is true, then that's one more advantage this card has over what may come down the road. So pay attention, guys. That's key information there. Thank you to Josh for sharing that. 2010, the Cup limited logos, Alex Ovechkin, beautiful card. It's raw. It's at $1,525. I think that makes sense to me. It's a nice patch too. Let's have a quick look at the auto. Auto looks great to me, but Beckett or PSA could probably find a reason to dock it a grade or two, because it comes down into the gray here. I'm kidding. If this was anything less than a 10, they would just lose all credibility with me and their ability to grade autographs. It's very, very nice. Great looking card as well. And then a buyback SPX Winning Materials Crosby jersey auto at a 10. I think this is another case where those are not patches. These are 2 pieces of jersey. There's no patch here. But the autograph is on the card, 8 of 10. And this was packed out without auto. So this is a legit buyback card that was autographed after the fact. I wanted to, Josh, before I let you jump in here, I just wanted to point out that we are now 2 minutes away from the first round of cards selling. So if you see the red here, the card is not going to make it for the next minute. So this Bobby Orr card at $62.50, I think someone is about to buy one of the best Bobby Orr cards I've ever seen for the pound for pound for the money. If a bid doesn't come in the next 47 seconds, right there, Daryl Sittler needs a bid. This Gretzky rookie needs a bid to get into the next window, as does the PSA 8, which is at $12.5. That needs a bid. The Yzerman needs a bid. Everything that I'm not mentioning is going to go for the next 5 minutes at least, everybody. All these cards are going to the next bid window. The triple auto we just talked about needs a bid to get to the next window. Needs a bid in the next 20 seconds. We haven't looked at these cards down here, but they're all extended. These are all extended. These the two Austin Matthews need bids. The Canvas BGS 10 and the Premier. And then everything else except for this Connor Bedard glossy, which looks like probably just ended. Let's watch the clock turn over here. Sometimes takes a few seconds now. And let's see if this thing is going to reset. We're already past 10 seconds in. I still feel like it's going to reset. Is it going to reset?
There's 5 minutes left in the window.
Yeah, so here we go. This one is showing sold. Yeah, it's sold. There, reset it. Just
Okay.
when I left it. So that one now sold for $210 with the buyer's premium. Everything else that you see here with the clock ticking is still going for 5 more minutes. The 2 Austin Matthews cards have sold. The Young Guns Canvas BGS 10 did $516, and the Premier Auto Patch did out of $199 sold for $990. All of these are still going. The Triple Auto sells for $5,280, guys. Congratulations. Like, whoever picked that up, and based on what Josh tells us tonight, that's a great pickup. The Steve Yzerman PSA 8 rookie does $216. The Gretzky PSA 8 does $15,000 for the top 30% eye appeal. The Daryl Sittler does $840, and the O-Pee-Chee 6.5 BGS Gretzky does $1,800. Oh, there's a few more. Oh, they're still going. So the ore got a bid, Josh. It must have got a bid in the final few seconds after I kind of kicked everyone's butt and said, guys, how can you not be? If you're looking for a Bobby Orr rookie, this is the one for you. Trust me. It's so nice. So what is Bob Boozle? Welcome, Bob. Says Jeremy's passion for these autos is spilling over like ink on that Gretzky signature. That's a compliment and a backhanded at the same time, Bob Boozle. Kudos for that creative comment right there. Comment of the night so far, I would have to say. Ali, we are not going to the Burbank show. Ali, not this time, unfortunately. Thanks for the comments, guys. Sorry, I haven't looked at them for quite some time here. Kendolph said, as a newbie Gretzky buyer who bought a Topps PSA 5, not knowing there were both Topps and O-Pee-Chee, could you touch on why they are the same but different? And yeah, it's I want to say scarcity, but it's also, the difficulty of the condition. And, the Canadian market drives the hockey card market, and the Canadian collecting contingent wants the O-Pee-Chee. That's what we grew up with up here. I think that's a big, big part of it.
Can I say something about that real quick that I feel like I've learned in the past year? And I would really only apply this to the Gretzky. I really feel like they're two different cards. Like, I don't see much, there's not, to me, a huge difference between like a 71 Lafleur O-Pee-Chee and Topps, or you don't see like in the 80s. I don't feel like there's a huge difference, but to me, it's like they're almost two totally separate cards, the Gretzky Topps and O-Pee-Chee rookie.
I like that outlook a lot, actually. It makes sense to me. They are different cards. But they, the design is the same. But the card stock is different. The print quality is different. The printing presses were different.
The cutting was different. The registration is different.
There are differences for sure. Okay, so let's see what cards we hadn't talked about yet. We've got this dual Lemieux Gretzky Program of Excellence from 2012, the Cup, at $1,550. If you're I mentioned, the best triple auto possible is Gretzky, Orr, and Gordie Howe. The best dual auto possible, it's hard not to say it's not Gretzky and Lemieux. Lemieux's hobby love isn't where it should be, in my opinion. And I bought a couple Lemieux autos recently, auto patches, because I love them. But this is this is a Team Canada card. So that I can understand that not appealing to American collectors. It's still pretty cool, but maybe you're looking for a Pittsburgh Edmonton card or Pittsburgh LA card, something like that. But this is still a pretty nice card overall. And then we have a Gretzky PMG Blue. This is likely not numbered out of 100. I don't know what it's actually going to be out of, because the greens are out of 10. Maybe it is out of 100. I'm actually not sure how it worked in that. This is a very, very complex year for PMGs. But this might be out of like 40. I'm not even going to guess what it's out of, but I don't think it's out of 100 per se, Josh. I just don't think it is. What does the back look like?
Well, if it's lower than 40.
15 of 100, it says. So, yeah, I think the first 10 are going to be green. Maybe the next 25 are blue, and then the rest are green, something like that, possibly. I'm not sure, but I don't believe it's out of 100. Anyway, it is now sold for $1,140. The Crosby buyback does $336. The Gretzky Premier Auto $444. The Ovechkin Rookie Year Ultimate Jersey out of $250 does $252. this Connor McDavid NHL draft picks from 2015 PSA 10 rookie year card does $324. I think this was a Hockey Day in Canada kind of issue, something like that didn't come out of a pack, or it came out of a cellophane pack similar to the Star basketball cards. So you might have known what was inside. JP says the Blues are out of 25. Thank you, JP. Appreciate that. I thought that rings a bell with me now for sure. The Austin Matthews Future Watch Auto PSA 10 with a 10 auto is at $4,600. I don't know what these sell for with just a regular 10 without an auto grade, but $4,600 on this one right now. We have just under 4 minutes left in the current 5-minute extended bidding window. The buybacks Austin Matthews from 2019. This is a 2017 O-Pee-Chee Platinum red prism card out of $199 sells for $336, and a Patrick Kane 2020 PMG red does $62. And then the Jason Robertson PSA 10 Young Gun does $94. Josh, I'm curious. You probably have a better memory than I do on this. What were Jason Robertson PSA 10 Young Guns selling for at their peak? What's the most you can remember one selling for?
I want to say like 250, 275, probably.
Yeah. That rings a bell. It doesn't surprise me. And here we are at $93 now. And we've seen those ones already. We saw those before. They were already pushed down to the bottom. The Daniil Miromanov, and I only look at that card because he got traded to my Calgary Flames, is sitting at $11. Gosh, maybe I should scoop that up.
Come on, support your team.
What's that?
Support your team.
Well, he's pictured on the Vegas Golden Knights here, though. That's the only problem. Yeah. All right, let's run back to the top here and see where we're at. And let's see, $77 on the second year Stan Mikita. The Bobby Orr does $8,100. So, Josh, that is certainly a premium over, right? Over what fives usually sell for. I think you said they were on the low sixes before. Is that right?
Low to mid sixes.
Low to mid sixes. This card, deservedly so, gets a nice premium and sells for $8,100. And all I can say is whoever bought it, you should be very, very happy and proud to own this amazing card. And don't let anyone tell you overpaid. You probably underpaid, because like I said, if sevens are selling for $15,000 to $20,000, this card is nicer than most of those sevens. Literally most of them. All right, let's refresh, push all the sold cards back down to the bottom. And let's just scroll down and make sure we didn't miss anything. I do want to call out Lashwine. Sylvan in the chat says the peak Robertson 10s were more than like $450 US. So there we go. He sold an SGC 10 for $600 Canadian on November 22nd. So yeah, PSA 10 Young Guns, guys, you really have to time when you buy them. You know, the worst time to buy them is when the player is super hot. The best time to buy them is like right now, August. August is a great time to buy them when the player maybe is a year after their breakout year. So consider that. These we all looked at already. So great. Good stuff here, guys. Here we go. 264 for the 96 finest refractor, the 95 finest refractor. 444 on the auto there that we talked about at length already. The 27.5 Topps Gretzky rookies. One does 1440, one does 1410. Right. Nice to see some consistency there. $2,640 on the BGS 7 O-Pee-Chee and $1,800 on the 6.5 O-Pee-Chee. So that all makes good sense to me. We saw those already. And now we're into the cards that are still alive. There's 21 seconds for these cards in red. So this card is about to end. The Austin Matthews Future Watch Auto with a 10-10 on the grades on both the card and the auto. This Ovechkin buyback auto is going to go to the next window here. It's at 750. Here we go. Final 3 seconds. It's going to take a few seconds for this to all. Oh, there we go. Let's see what happens here. It still needs to reset. So we're down to. Oh, okay. There we go. It's reset now. So the Austin Matthews does $5,520. The Daniil Miromanov does $13 that I was watching for my own curiosity. And we are down to only 4 cards that are left alive in tonight's auction that we are watching here. And those are, oh, maybe not, not 4, 6. We're down to 6 cards. We've got the Adventure Hockey Hardy Perennials. We've got the Pavel Bure, Bowman's Best Mirror Image Fusion, Atomic Refractor out of 25. Basically, double. We were at 550 when we looked at it the first time, Josh, up to 925. So not quite doubled, but it's really jumped up. The Ovechkin Limited Logos is at 16 1/4. The Dual Auto, Program of Excellence from the Cup, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux is at 1825. SP Game Use Phenoms Gold, Connor McDavid Rookie Patch out of 49 is sitting at $185. Fanatics Marketplace, Fanatics Collect is calling it a patch. Let's have a look. I don't believe it's truly a patch. Yeah, this is not a patch. This is a jersey piece referred to as a relic here. And it's sitting at 195. Yeah, coming up to 250 with the buyer's premium. What do you think of this card, Josh? This particular rookie year McDavid. What are your thoughts? Because you often are very descriptive when it comes to, you're just really entertaining when you talk about a card. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this design.
I actually don't mind the design. I would love if there was some color in the jersey. At least I think that would have really made this card more special. But actually, it would having the patch window spell out the word rookie is really smart. I'm a little bit surprised that they don't do that more often. And again, there's so many rookie year McDavids, as we know, like 612, I think to be exact, or 613, something like that, that you can be picky. But I would say this is a very nice looking card that probably will be on the value side. And it's out of 49, so it's pretty low numbered. Seems like I'd be happy at $240, something like that right now.
Yeah, just hit 240, just got a bid. And I agree, like it's still a rookie year, McDavid. And let's face it, you want a rookie, an RC with an auto or an auto patch, you're probably well into the thousands. So to get a rookie year McDavid card, and there's lots to choose from, doesn't have to be this one. There are lots to choose from out there that have jersey pieces, maybe even a patch here and there, probably more expensive with patch, but it just depends where you're at, where you're at as a collector, what your budget is, what your collection looks like. This is a candidate for many people out there, I would say. I want to congratulate the professor, picked up a couple of cards here. The 2018 SP Authentic Spectrum FX Gold Barzal auto and a 2020 SP Authentic Future Watch auto of Alexander Romanov. Congratulations, professor. But we have to tip the cap here to SSP Joel, who just picked up one of the BGS 7 Gretzky rookies. And now time to sell his PSA 4 and PSA 5. Congratulations, SSP Joel, on the new upgraded Gretzky rookie. Big congrats. Very quickly, Larry also picked up the 1974 Topps Bobby Orr PSA 8 with exceptional eye appeal for $120 with premium. And I love the 74 set, Larry. I love the 74 set. Congratulations. Josh, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to make one more comment on the McDavid rookie, and it's a little tangential comment, but I think it's worth saying this is a good reminder to anyone being like a lot of people that have been swept up a little bit in Bedardapalooza, is every 2023-24 set comes out right now, and these Bedards go for like crazy. 10 years from now, if Bedard is as good as Connor McDavid, there's going to be $100,000 Connor Bedard rookie cards, and there's going to be $200 Connor Bedard rookie cards. And that's why it's really important to understand where you're putting your money into the right cards.
Yeah, good point right there. Thank you for cutting that off with about 15 seconds left in the bid window, guys. 10 seconds now left in this window. We are still watching the Adventure Hockey, the Bure, the Ovechkin, the Dual Auto, the McDavid, and the Ovechkin buyback. Everything else that we are watching is sold. And let's see, the clock just turned. Let's give it a minute to reset in case any of these 6 items did sell. And look at that, 2 of them did. The Hardy Perennials does $30, and the Ovechkin Limited Logos from the beautiful 2010 Cup set sells for $1,950. We still have 4 cards to go tonight, one of which is this Pavel Bure Atomic Refractor. The Image Fusion out of 25 is at 1,075. I think I said earlier, Josh, when it was at 550, I could see this thing selling for about 2,000. I wouldn't be surprised. We're almost at 1,300. We're about 1,250 right now. So I wasn't far off, but it's not over yet. It needs a bid. Let's hit a quick refresh here.
Here's why. Because we know that there's very fervent Pavel Bure collectors. It's not the hugest collecting base, but they're very competitive. And a card like this may not come back for sale for 2 more years. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2 or 3 collectors right now that are saying, okay, this is my chance to pick up this card, and I gotta go get it.
Yeah, from a pop perspective, this is a gem mint one of one in BGS. I don't know what the PSA pop is, but you're right. Like, this is there's only 25 of these to go around, and this from 1998. Like, these are it's kind of a needle in a haystack kind of card. I have to think. I haven't looked at other marketplaces to see if there's any more. Maybe there's one listed on the buy now platform here on Fanatics Collect, but either way, there's a bid. It's up to 1,100, so it's going to go into the next window still. So is the McDavid rookie year card with the rookie window jersey. It's at 210. The dual Lemieux Gretzky still needs a bid, but we have 3 minutes to get one there for it to go to the next window. And the Ovechkin buyback, numbered out of 25, needs a bid to get into the next window too. It's at 775. Larry says here that in the auction, they call it Fanatics Collect Eye Appeal. Larry, I hear you, but I think they're transitioning and they don't always do that. So just for Larry, on this PSA 8 Gretzky, if we open it up, it says Fanatics Collect Eye Appeal. So yes, that it's correct on that card. But as we scroll down and we find another one, there was one other card in here, I thought that had, maybe it was something I was looking at myself earlier. I thought we saw one. Maybe they're not giving it the badge on the front. No, it's this card here. It's the Orr, of course. The Bobby Orr here for Larry says PWCC certified eye appeal. So they haven't fully transitioned away from the PWCC stickers until those cards are restickered with a Fanatics sticker. So just because for Larry's comment here, he's half right, and eventually he'll be fully right, except when somebody sends out in a PWCC eye appeal card to Fanatics Collect, and they don't switch it over. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I think, Larry, I hope that makes sense to you, Larry, and we're on the same page. Okay, what do we have left for time here? A minute and a half still. Want to say hello to Joe Perot, my guy from Santa Cruz. What's going on? Sunday fun here on the SCL YouTube channel with Josh Madigan of the Hockey Cards Gong Show, talking hockey cards, talking hockey hobby. Minute 16 left. And Brett says that I might be right about that Bure Fusion reaching 1,500. You know, there we are. Now we just went up to 1125, Josh. Another bid has come in during the same bid window, 1175. So if we run the math on that, I got to open up my calculator because I can't do this in my head. 1175 times 1.2, $1,410 now, Brett. So we are very close to 1,500. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing sold for $2,000, and it very well might. We will see. It could do more than that even, Josh. I mean,
yeah.
I think this, to me, you know, you think about important cards for the 90s, for whether your player is Pavel Bure or Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux or whoever. You've got the run for the cup. You've got the Atomic Refractor, which I love, which isn't even this card. You know, you've got the grand finales. You've got all these cards that are super popular among collectors that like these 90s players and their 90s cards. This, to me, is the toughest of all of them. And now there's another bid that came up. It's at $1,225.
It would be this and like the Pinnacle Epics moment, right? Isn't that like out of 30 or something like that?
Yes. There's the mirror gold, platinum gold. There's those two as well. So now we're at $1,275. So another bid came in. So this card is now, it's now 13 and a quarter.
Yeah.
So the card is now at $1,590. And it's
Beret
still
collectors are crazy.
It's still got time to go. So Brett, we were right. We've now blown through the $1,500 level. We're almost at $1,600. And I could, like I said, I could still see this thing going for $2,000. I kind of want to stick around and see it get there. Producer Louis says, let's go Bure. Yeah, and another bid just came. It's at $1,350 now. So it's past $1,600. The bids are going to keep coming in. I think we seem to have a bidding war on our hands here. The professor graciously asks everybody to hit that like button on this great episode. Thank you, Professor. Always appreciate those shout outs. We're at $1,350 now, which is $1,620 for the Bure. And we still have this level and the next 5-minute window to go. The Lemieux Gretzky and all this excitement over the Bure does sell for $2,520. And I think that's the right price on that card. And the Ovechkin buyback sells for $930. So we are down now to 2 cards to watch, the Bure and the McDavid. And Josh, I have to think, if we were still playing Survivor here on this show,
yeah,
I think I would have picked this Bure card. I think this would have been my pick. Would you have picked it too?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. This was easy pickings if you're trying to decide which card would be the last one. Oh, hey, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the McDavid wins out, but I certainly would have picked the Bure. McDavid needs a bid to get to the next window, but Bure already has it. And let's see, we have 47 bids here. Interesting to see if it gets any more bids in the next 2.5 minutes before the window is over. Producer Louis says he's in it for the McCult. The professor says, consider Josh's comment about future dual autos being no, not duals, Professor, anything more than a dual. He says, as breaking news, in my opinion, thanks to the breaking news, Josh. Is it breaking news, Josh, or is that something that you've heard before or mentioned elsewhere?
I think Upper Deck said it on our show. Either Billy or Tony did a while ago.
Very nice.
I'm assuming it was Tony, actually.
Tony, who mentioned that on the Gong Show. You guys got to watch the Gong Show for breaking news. They have Upper Deck on more than anybody has them on, I think. So always worthy, a worthy listen when they have on anyone from Upper Deck. Same with the Center Ice Card Cast. Those guys have the guys from Upper Deck on as well. Check that podcast out as well to complement your hockey content. Doug Poole says, I can confirm that the Bure Mirror Fusion Atomic Refractor is super rare. You've had yours for over 20 years, and this is the only other one he's seen, you guys.
Wow.
There you go. That's big. That's important information right there. And Mike Kemmel says, my birthday is in an hour, and Bure is my favorite player. Happy birthday to me, I hope. If you're going for this card, Mike Kemmel, I wish you good luck.
Good luck.
And happy birthday, everybody, to Mike Kemmel, whose birthday is obviously August the 12th. Early happy birthday to you, Mike. Thank you for spending your birthday eve here with us. Very, very honored by that. Josh, wish Mike happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I thought I already did. Did I not?
Maybe you did. Maybe you did. My bad if you did. And Brett, very nice comment, says, I've learned so much watching The Gong. Is that what they're calling it now, Josh? The Gong or The Gong Show?
Just watch and call it whatever you want. I don't care.
There you go. Just watch. We don't care what you call it, he says. Mike is trying to win the Bure, so we know one of the people in this bidding war. Mike, I want you to win it, but I also want to see this thing hit 2,000 just for the fun of it. So I hope you win, and I hope you win it for as little as you possibly can. Good luck to you on that. Yes, and happy to be here the night before your birthday. 22 bids come in, guys. It just went from $1,350 to $1,475 in front of our eyes. It's now at $1,770. Mike Kemmel might need to get another bid in. $1,500 now, guys. It's hit $1,800 now. $1,800. We're at $1,500, and it's going to go for at least 5 more minutes. So here's the turnover. It looks like the McDavid got a bid as well, and we'll go into the next bid window as well. Producer Louis is pulling for you, Mike. We are pulling for you. Keep us posted, but also maybe keep your cards close to your chest in case whoever you're bidding against is watching as well. You might not want to let us know what your max is or anything like that. Keep them guessing as best you can. And Sylvan says the Gong Show has some truly amazing guests. Funny enough, I've seen Lashwine on the Gong Show. And I got to say,
Weird.
I love those episodes. You've done 2, I think, with him so far. And they've both been great. Sylvan, you've been awesome on those shows. Guys, the Bure has got another bid. It is going to go into the 1-minute windows here, which are coming up soon. More hockey cards, please. Wants to know Mike Kemmel's max on the Bure. Maybe he's the other one going for it. We might have both guys in the chat right now. I wish you both luck for sure. The professor says that Doug Poole's comment almost makes him want to jump into the Bure Atomic Refractor action. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a beast of a card, but you only had $70 to spend tonight, Professor. So I don't think you're in the action. I don't think you're in it, but if you are, good luck. What can we say? At the same time, there's something to be said for leaving these cards for the pure player collectors. Just in the past few days, I was in that situation where I wanted to buy a card. It was listed for sale on Facebook by a guy. I knew the seller. I reached out to him, but I knew that it was a Paul Correa. I know the Correa collectors. I knew that a couple of them would be interested in it, but I thought maybe it would be, maybe it wouldn't be within their means. And if it wasn't, maybe I would make a play at it. But he told me that their offers were within his range. And I said, then I'm out. I'm not even going to make an offer because these guys want this card badly. And I'm certain that their offers that they made were their best and finals. So I'm not going to get involved and overbid them when I'm certainly not as passionate about it as they would be. And the one guy who won it made a post on Facebook after he did the deal on the card, and he called me out. It was kind of one of these, like, he called me classy because I did that. And I would just hope that someone would do the same thing for me. I wasn't trying to be classy. I just wouldn't have felt right purchasing that card and then showing it off at a card show in my showcase or on Instagram. Look what I got. And knowing that these guys would probably, it just wasn't the right thing to do. And I'm not saying that the professor would do that or is going to do that. I think he was tongue in cheek for the most part, but I just want to say, we are a community here in this hobby, and it's nice to do things for our fellow collectors, especially the passionate guys who've been doing this for not that anyone is more deserving than anyone else, but it's just nice to do something for those player collectors and feel good about it. Mike Kemmel says, I bought late game yesterday after seeing the interview. I don't know what that's about.
We had really briefly they hosted the trade night at the National. It was a guy that made a hockey movie, and then we had him on our show.
I do know what that was about, and I saw it. I forgot the name, but you interviewed him. That was like a 45-minute interview during an episode of Gong Show, wasn't it?
Yeah. Everything we do is long-winded.
I enjoyed the interview. Seems like a great guy as well. Mm-hmm. So very, very cool. Professor says he's not in on the Bure. I figured you wouldn't be. And Sylvan says Bure certainly has some mega collectors out there. Yes, and he has for a while. We have a minute left, guys. It's had more bids. $17.75 now. The card has blasted through the $2,000 threshold, as I predicted. When it was at $550, I said I could see this thing doing $2,000, and it's at $2,130 right now. So I'm glad that I wasn't way off on that, because I hate to say something that is totally wrong. And I know I do it all the time. We do it. That's what happens when you talk a lot. You don't everything you say things that don't end up being true. But it's nice to know that I was kind of right on this. And let's see, maybe this pushes $3,000, and I was too conservative. But here we are, 25 seconds away from the 1 minute windows, guys. And then we're going to see what's going to happen here. We're going to see the bids coming in. So we're going to let the clock turn over here. And I actually want to do something fun that we don't ever do. I'm going to go to the weekly auction here, tonight's auction alone. And let's see what's going on. We still have cards in other sports, guys. We are at the top of the range here. This Kobe Exquisite limited logos at $26,500. The Jerry Rice autograph rookies at $17,000. Why can't he still sign? That seems expensive to me, considering he can still sign. Michael Jordan star card at 8,500. So there are still cards going here. And there's our Bure right there, guys. $1,825 now. $1,825. Bids are still coming in. It is the 8th highest priced card still going on the Fanatics weekly auction. There we go. Let's go back to our page, though. The McDavid did sell for $276, and we are going to go at least one more minute on this card here. 15 seconds. We're at $1,825. To Mike Kemmel and more hockey cards, please. I kind of don't want to see you guys posting right now unless you're just going to say you're out, because I want to make sure that you guys go through this thing kind of without giving away your secrets. $1,850 is the bid. Sundin 564 says, I looked up the Adventure Hockey Hardy on eBay. The other cards in the set aren't hockey. They're activities like surfing, mountain climbing, etc. So it's a multi-sport set. Thank you for letting us know that, Sundin. And guys, there's no bid yet. Oh, there it comes. There's the bid in the window. There's the bid in the window. $1,875 now, Josh.
I have a little nugget on this sale.
$2,250 is the price of this card, and we are going to the next window.
Only 9 Pavel Bure cards have ever sold for $2,000 or more.
Does that include this one, or are we at 10 now?
This would be 10.
This is the 10th one. He wore number 10, didn't he? He wore number 10 as well. Guys, this is a big card here on a big night. 7 seconds left. We are going to get another minute at least out of this card. Bob Boozle does say if Mike Kemmel doesn't win this, that birthday party is going to be sad. Well, we'll be a little bit sadder than otherwise, but oh, there he says he is out. We'll look for solo Bure card for this price. He's pulling out. He's letting us know he's out. Although, for all we know, that could be gameplay right there. I'd respect it if that is a lie, Mike Kemmel, and if that this is like poker. You know, you can lie about this as long as you're not Jeremy Lee or Josh Madigan. I feel you can lie about what you're bidding on here. Oh, more hockey says he's out as well. Well, let's see what happens. That means that this auction could be over here in 23 seconds. And if so,
I think I got a bid in the window, though. I think it would go to the next one automatically.
I don't think so. I mean,
maybe not. Maybe not.
It says bid needed. These are going by pretty quick, Josh. I find the more they go, these 1 minute windows can get convoluted. Brett says Bill McCult's mom is the top bidder. Let's see what happens. That could be. I think that's going to be it, guys. I think we're going to see final sale here of $2,250, and we do $2,250, right around what I thought it would sell for. And I think that's still a fair price. Like, I think there's only 25 of these, guys. The rarest Bure card from the 90s. So congratulations to whoever won it. And I mean, both of Mike Kemmel and more hockey cards, you guys both came very close. Not to say the one more bid would have won it. It might not have, right? That guy could have kept on outbidding you. So we don't know. But as more hockey cards, so in gracious defeat says, congrats to the winner, for sure. For sure. Congrats to the new owner of this mega Bure card. Josh, any final thoughts on our evening here?
Yeah, I mean, the card of the night is the Bure, of course. And then I actually have a question for you that I've been thinking about a little bit and came back to me this auction. It was triggered by the Gretzky PMG. So a couple years ago, we saw PMGs hit the moon with their values, and they've retracted pretty significantly since then. I see a Gretzky blue PMG out of 25 go for $1,000. Now, it's not his first. It's not even his first Oilers. I get that. But my question to you, Jeremy, is there a point where if these correct too far, where part of you is like, I might get back in the PMG game, or are you completely out at this point?
I have PMGs in my collection still that I love, and I don't plan to sell. I don't ever see myself acquiring a PMG from any set that comes out in the future. I just don't see myself buying PMGs from this year moving forward. It's just like jersey cards, Josh. I don't collect jersey cards that come out in Upper Deck Series 1, Series 2, which come out every year. I have the first 2 sets of jersey cards right in that cabinet right there. That to me is important. Jersey cards coming out today are unimportant to me personally as a collector. PMGs have followed that same track now. Jambalayas are following Platinum Portraits. They're doing that too, to the point where it's the first for me. Not only I do like other Jambalayas, and I have others, so I can't say that I can't be consistent. And I have more PMGs than just the first ones. But I am consistent, because even with jersey cards, I have the first 2 years of them, not just the first year. I find the first 2 years interesting. So I think that answers your question, though.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I could keep talking about it. I could keep on drawing that out. Mike Kemmel says, my kid's cake will have to do. There you go, Mike. Happy birthday again, bud. And Brett says, atomic refractors seem undervalued compared to the same era PMGs. I mean, that's where I love atomic refractors. You know, I have a few. I have the Gretzky, the Yzerman, the Joe Thornton, and the Ziggy Palffy. And I saw yesterday a second Ziggy Palffy showed up on ComC, and I bought it because I just felt like I had to. It was cheap enough. I'm like, I got to grab that one. It's just too good. I love them. And I love Ziggy Palffy. So I'll pick up a couple more players over time. But yeah, I agree with Brett's comment here. Atomic refractors are they seem to get some value, though. You know, I put them up there. To me, they're among my top 3 favorite rare 90s cards, along with Sixth Sense Wizards, Run for the Cups. I'm not a fan of the Platinum Mirror Golds. I don't like the looks of that card, but who knows? Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe I'll be influenced. We'll see.
What I love about cards like the Bure that we saw tonight is I love when cards come up to auction that we haven't seen maybe ever, and we're not sure we're ever going to see again. To me, it makes it a really exciting night.
Yeah, the Bure was the highlight of the night for sure. The Bobby Orr and the Bure were the highlights of the night. These are both special cards, same night. And yeah, should we have a quick preview at next week's items? Although I'm not going to be around to do a show, Josh. I'll be at Fanatics Fest, so we'll take a week off, guys. Keep that in mind. But let's just see what is coming up on hockey for next week. 196 items. Let's just, so we can do this quick. Let's go by. Well, these launched on Thursday, I guess. So, we have a beautiful Vezina rookie coming up. A nice Newsy Lalonde as well. Oh, these are going to be fun to watch. There's a Bedard SP. We haven't seen one of those in a while. A beautiful Art Ross C55. I love the Art Ross, guys. Second year Art Ross. Talking about second year cards, Josh. I have several from the C55 set, because I have 2/3 of the set. Love it. Looks like it's a C55 night here, guys. George Poulin, Henri Dyer, Jacques Laviolette, a nice Patrick Waugh rookie, PSA 6. The Joe Malone. This is the second most important rookie card in the C55 set, is the Joe Malone. It's an SGC 3. Looks well centered from this angle. Is that Dustin Wolf? Dustin Wolf, Young Gun Canvas, PSA 10. Goalie of the future here where I live. Look at that, all the C55s. Okay, looks like that would be a fun. Oh, you got another Pasternak BGS 95 RPA, Josh. Okay, a little bit of a fun week for all you guys. Next week, be sure to check out the items ending on Fanatics Collect next week, next Sunday. The professor says, I wonder if the upcoming DC Heroes and Villains release and the Batman PMGs will create new interest in PMGs. That's a good point. Like, I said I'll never buy another PMG that comes out here forward. I'm talking about like hockey players that already have PMGs. I might still buy a Bedard PMG or a McElhinney PMG. Like, I might have been a bit too aggressive with that statement before, and I want to reserve the right to buy one in the future still. So right reserved. Jeff McMahon, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Always appreciate seeing you in the chat, Jeff. All right, Josh, let's wrap it up. Thank you for joining. As always, thank you for all the content on the Gong Show. We all learned a lot through that show. Thank you to the chat for joining us. Thank you, chat, for joining us as well. As always, Bob Boozle says, stay away from Catwoman PMGs. They are mine.
There you go.
Good luck. Good luck with that, Bob. Louis, good night to you. The Gong Show drops at 3 a.m. Central tomorrow, guys. That's only like 5-6 hours away. Thank you, Brett S., for joining from Adelaide, Australia. Beautiful, beautiful city, Adelaide. Thank you, Sylvan. Good to see you, bud. We should catch up on a phone call one of these days, Sylvan. It's been a while. Guys, Josh, I'll give you a minute to say goodbye.
Good night, everyone. Happy birthday, Mike. Have a great week. And we'll be back in 2 weeks.
We will be back in 2 weeks, everybody. Have a great time. Until then, if you're going to be at Fanatics Fest, say hi to me if we haven't said hi before. And with that, this episode of the Fanatics Collect Weekly Hockey Auctioneering Watch Party for August the 11th, 2024, on behalf of myself and the Gong Show's Josh Madigan